Hi guys, Joe Berk from CSC Motorcycles again. Many of you have asked for another video pointing out particular technical features on the motorcycle, so that's what we're going to do today. I've got my lovely camera assistant Lupe behind the camera. Lupe, come on in here, let's get a little closer. These guys don't need to see any more of me. They're going to want to see the motorcycle. We'll start out, we've got an 18-inch wheel and tire on the front of the motorcycle. It's a wire wheel, it's got a disc brake, you can see right here. Before I get further back on the motorcycle, I wanted to point out the forks. It's an upside down fork. Quite a few people have asked what's the size of the forks. 37 millimeters diameter for the inner portion of the fork, 52 millimeters for the outer portion of the fork. Continuing along in our discussion right here, let's see, let's go up top. We've got LED lights for both the turn signals and the headlights on a motorcycle. Let me turn one of those on for a second. I'll put the key in right here and turn this guy on. And let's see if I put the headlight on. There we go. All right, that'll probably wash out in the camera, so I'll turn it off again. This is the turn signal, obviously. We've got a dynamite windshield on this motorcycle. I rode the RX-3 in Chongqing when I was out there earlier. This windshield really works. It's ergonomically sound. It kicks the wind up over the rider. Very comfortable zone riding back here. Lupe, let's give folks a view of the bike from right here. This thing is ergonomic. It just fits. Let me put my pointer down here for a second. Some folks have asked to see me on the motorcycle. I'm not sure why they want that. I'm sure you want to see the motorcycle more than me. But they've asked, you know, what's the size of it roughly. I'm 5'10", a little chunkier than I need to be, but the ergonomics are there. It's a very comfortable bike, easy to sit on, easy to get your leg across, very easy to get on and off of. Oh, it's got a tour pack in the back. It's got panniers on the side. We'll talk about those in just a second. Let me get my pointer back. Kind of a neat feature. It's got seats here for the rider, of course, and a passenger. It's got a little backrest built into the tour pack, which is kind of a cool feature. But let's come back up to the front of the bike again. And Lupe, let's come in almost as if we were the rider here. First thing I want to point out is the handlebar. The handlebar is a tapered handlebar. What that means is the diameter in the center of it is larger than the diameter towards the end. Not really sure that's an essential feature to have, but you see it on more expensive motorcycles. Zongshen incorporated on this. It's a nice touch. You generally see it on high-end Triumph, Ducati motorcycles of that nature. Next thing I'd like to point out is the dash. We have an analog tachometer right here, 9,000 RPM red line, and we have a digital readout. So let me turn this guy on. It'll pop up in a second. It does that sweep through. That's cool. As I mentioned, 9K red line. It's got a digital readout for the speed. Of course, it's bike standing still right now, so it's showing 0. Got a gear indicator. It's got a water temp gauge on the side. It's got a fuel temp gauge on the left side. Let's see. It tells you the time. That's a nice feature on a motorcycle. I often wished I had that because when you're wearing a jacket, a motorcycle jacket, all the gear all the time, you can't see your watch. So that's cool. Trip meter. Let's see. And an odometer as well. So let me turn this off. If you pan back for just a bit, we've got conventional hand controls for the motorcycle. Let's see, starter button, lights, kill switch. This is the front brake. This is the throttle, of course. Hydraulic reservoir for the front brake. On the left side of the bike, very similar. Nothing really unusual here. Got a horn. Oh, let's see what the horn sounds like. Ooh, nice. Beep, beep. Turn signals left and right, emergency flashers, high beam, low beam we've got right here. Another feature, Lupe, if you would come around here and look at it from right here, this is also kind of neat. You see it on bikes, but not on smaller bikes. It's a feature usually on higher bikes. This guy right here is for flashing the headlights. If you're riding along and you want to zip somebody with your high beam so they know you want to pass them, that's kind of a cool feature to have. All right, let's see, what else do I have here? I've got a locking gas cap. Pretty standard on bigger bikes. You don't always see it on smaller bikes. This is nice. Let's see, continuing around a motorcycle, we've got guards, front and rear. This is, we call them engine guards now. We used to call them crash bars, but that's politically incorrect. You don't want to conjure up an image of anybody crashing a motorcycle. Got them here, here, and of course in the back. Very nice. Something else, pardon me jumping in front of the camera, I wanted to point out. This motorcycle has a metal skid plate on it. That's a nice feature. I have a Kawasaki KLR 650. I may mention that again during our discussion. It's got a skid plate as well, but it's made out of plastic. This is metal. It's quite nice. Let's see, disc brake in the front, I already mentioned that. Oh, let's see, Lupe, I'm going to sneak behind you here so people don't have to look at me. I want to get a nice shot of the motor right here, the engine on this bike. This is pretty slick, ladies and gentlemen. It's a water-cooled, 6-speed, 250cc motorcycle, overhead cam with a counterbalancer. One of the things I really like about this motorcycle is to adjust the valves. It's got 4 valves, but it's a single overhead cam engine with rocker arms that have threaded adjusters on them. So there's none of this monkey business of using buckets and shims like you see on many other motorcycles. And if you've ever done a valve adjustment on a motorcycle using the bucket and shim system, I have. I'm here to tell you, it's a nightmare. This is not. This is a standard threaded fastener adjustment, and it's going to make it much easier to do the valves. You can't really see it. It's tucked up in here. That's the fuel injector. It's a fuel injected bike. Let's see, what else? Counter shaft, obviously, right in here. 6-speed transmission. I know I work for CSC. I'm expecting you guys to perhaps be a little skeptical of what I say. I want to say this anyway. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the smoothest shifting motorcycle I've ever ridden. Every gear, 1st through 6th, snip, snip, snip. I mean, it's shifting through hot butter. It is really a smooth transmission. The other thing that's nice is it's very easy to find neutral on this. If you've ridden motorcycles for a while, as I have, you know, a lot of times when you stop, you want to get into neutral. Finding neutral between 1st and 2nd is a challenge. This bike gets to neutral real easy. And look at this. Standard equipment for the pegs for both passenger, for the rider and the passenger. Metal frame with a rubber insert, serrations around the edge. Good dual sport feature. It's a high quality foot peg. Normally what you have to do is buy those accessories for on any other bike, but it comes with standard equipment on this motorcycle. Side stand, we don't have a center stand on this motorcycle, that's not stock, but we will offer one as an option. The bike already has a feature to attach a center stand, which is very nice. Another thing that's kind of interesting, folks have asked about the air cleaner. Well, I'm going to tell you how you get to the electrics and the air cleaner. As is the case on many motorcycles, we've got a key lock right here. When I turn this piece pops off. If you take a look at this, the rear seat, it's got a nice little toolkit tucked in underneath it. No exotic fasteners, no Torx fasteners or anything like that. It's Allen heads, hex bolts, and Phillips heads. Everything you got is right here. Lupe, let's come around and see if we can get a shot right in here. There's 2 10mm bolts that hold the bracket down. If you undo those 2 10mm bolts, this one and this one, this bracket pops off, and then the seat comes out. That gives you access to the electrical components of the motorcycle and the battery. When you take this off and you remove this and this, you get access to the air filter, which is tucked in underneath here. It's a screen and foam air filter. All right, let's see. What else did I want to point out on here? Let's take a look at the panniers. I'm going to open these up. They lock. This is standard equipment on the bike. They look like they're aluminum, but they're not. Maybe they look like they're stainless steel. They're not that either. What they are, they're resin. They're plastic. They open up. They've got mesh retainers and a lot of room for storing things in there. People ask, can I put a full face helmet in there? No, you can't put a full face helmet. It's not that big, but it is plenty big. We also have a tour pack. Well, that's Harley-Davidson's term. I guess I'd call it a trunk on top. Same question, can I put a full face helmet? No, folks, you can't put a full face helmet in the luggage on this bike. If you have a full face helmet, and you should, if you don't, just attach that to the bike when you walk away from it. We could sell you a feature to lock it to the bike. And all the times I've ever gone into Mexico or any place else riding around on my motorcycle with a full face helmet, I don't put it in the luggage because the luggage is full of everything else. But you know, I'll bring enough to travel for 3 or 4 weeks at a time, which basically means a pair of underwear and a couple of 6-packs of beer, and I'm good to go. All right, let's see what else I've got here. The muffler. People talk about mufflers on Chinese motorcycles. One of the inane comments I've seen on the internet is, oh, they're all cheap, the mufflers. No, not the case here. This is a stainless steel muffler, solidly mounted, very appropriate. Continuing around this motorcycle, the rear wheel is a 15-inch wheel. We're going to stock tires for that. Some people say, oh, I wish the wheel was a different size. We'll have a larger wheel available as an option, but the stock wheel on a motorcycle is a 15-inch wheel, and we will stock tires for that. You won't have any issue getting tires. We've heard other people say, well, I could buy a tire anywhere if I had a different size wheel. Folks, I beg to differ. I've traveled quite a bit on a motorcycle, and I've had bikes with standard sized wheels, and I can tell you I've been in some places, it doesn't matter what it is, they didn't have it, so I had it FedExed in. We'll stock everything. You need a tire, we're going to have it to you the next day. Not a problem. Let's see, this is the brake, the rear brake obviously on the right side of the motorcycle. We have a ProLink type suspension arrangement here. The suspension, a little hard to see, but there's an adjustment right here for damping on the suspension. Also a very high-end feature, very nice to have. Here's another shot of the engine from the right side, water-cooled, 250 as I mentioned before. It has two radiators, one on either side of the motorcycle. Each radiator has its own fan. That's a neat feature. And let me think, what else do we have here? What have I not mentioned? Lupe, did I capture it all? Is there anything else I should point out? Let's see, I talked about the diameter force, I got that. I talked about the engine guards, excuse me, not crash bars. I talked about the LED lights. I think I have just about covered everything. So let me back up a bit. Folks, this is Joe Berk from CSC Motorcycles talking to you about the CSC Cyclone. We have an open house tomorrow. Tomorrow and Sunday will be the last 2 days, I believe, of our Don't Miss the Boat program, where you can buy this motorcycle for $2,895. I don't mean to sound like Cal Worthington or a ShamWow salesman, but I am excited about this motorcycle. I hope to see you on the road, and ride safe, my friends. I'm out.